Hello，你好，Welcome back，欢迎回来 to Wisdom Wednesday with Johnny Tiger on May 15, 2024. Now today has been a busy day. I got an opening at the art show in a couple of hours, so I still scrounge together enough time to get this comparatively shorter Wisdom Wednesday episode because we usually Wisdom Wednesday we're kind of long-winded, right? But today, because of time crunch, we're going to keep this short but hopefully still sweet. Um, Today I'm going to tell you guys an alternative tale about the Dragon Boat Festival, the Dragon Boat Day in Chinese culture. The Dragon Boat Festival usually takes place on the fifth day of the fifth lunar month on the Chinese calendar. This year, it will happen on June 10. And this is a pretty important day, almost like a celebration of the beginning of summer for Chinese people, where people get together and uh, do dragon boating, and they eat this rice dumpling, and they're sticky rice with meat and egg yolk, and sometimes they make them sweet, so sometimes they'll have bean paste and red dates in them, and then they make them into this little pyramid shape, uh, packed with sticky rice, and then they wrap them in bamboo or grape leaves, and then tie them up with twines. And you got to unwrap them and eat them. Usually, you have to steam them or boil them first, unless you get them freshly made. Then they're really delicious. This is one of the things I really miss being in Canada. Uh, I mean, we can get rice dumplings here as well, but it's crazy expensive. It's like $5 each, and for a guy like me who have to eat a lot, uh, it's like I have to spend $20 to buy four of them to get full. In Taiwan, you can get like 10 of them for about $5 Canadian. So there's a big price difference. And of course, the one in Taiwan are way better than what we get here because the one we get here, they're made by food companies. They're made by people who are hired to just work in the deli or in the kitchen, and they don't care how it tastes. But in Taiwan, it's a matter of pride when people make rice dumplings on Dragon Boat Fest Day. It's like if you make really good rice dumpling, that's your chance to make a killing uh, selling these on that day. It's a very specific thing. It's almost like people eating turkey on Thanksgiving or Christmas. Okay, rice dumpling in Taiwan is a matter of special occasion. Um, so I really miss this rice dumpling. By the way, in Mandarin, these are called 粽子, Jonje, 粽子. Uh, and again, like I said, these are sticky rice packed with other fillings and then wrapped in leaves and twine. Dragon Boat. Here in North America and other part of the world, Dragon Boat has quickly becoming a sport. People do Dragon Boat all year long. Johnny Tiger used to be on the Dragon Boat team for about 11 years, so I call myself a retired Dragon Boater. Once in a while, I still get asked to go help out a team if they need extra muscles or someone experienced. But for the most part, my Dragon Boat days are behind me. I met a lot of great friends doing Dragon Boating, friends that still maintain friendship with me to this day. But in China and Taiwan and Hong Kong, for the most part, Dragon Boating is just for that day, just Dragon Boat Fest day. Uh, it's like it's again, it's a special thing. It's a special occasion thing, kind of like people who do polar bear swim on New Year Day here in Canada. You don't just go do polar bear swim every day of the year. I guess you can if you want to, but it's more of a one-time thing. Uh, and that's how Dragon Boat is in Taiwan, China, and other Asian countries. Dragon Boat, by the way, is called Longzhou. Longzhou, Long, Long, that's dragon. Zhou, J-O, means canoe, a small craft. Uh, uh, if you're talking about a boat, an actual boat, or a ship, and it's called chuan, Chung, Uh, but anything that require you to paddle or use an oar, and it's usually called a zhou, J-O. Now I have talked about the origin of uh, 端午节, which means Dragon Boat Fest Day, uh, and Longzhou Dragon Boat, and the 粽子, the rice dumpling. I've talked about the origin of these before on the best podcast in the world, aka Johnny Tiger Experience Podcast. Uh, so you guys, if you guys have not checked out the Johnny Tiger Experience Podcast, like honestly, guys, it's awesome. Like I interviewed a lot of blind martial artists on the podcast. We have toy segment, we have fitness segment, and a lot of Oriental culture and music and stuff like that. So if you guys haven't checked that out, uh, you can still find that on a lot of podcasting platform. Uh, I'm kind of still feeling a bit sad, not updating that, and kind of let it uh, went down silently, but because of these daily videos, I just have to make sacrifices. I can't keep up with both the regular podcast and these videos. Uh, so anyway, um, I believe even on the past Wisdom Wednesday, I've talked about the origin of Dragon Boat Festival. Uh, but just to refresh your memory, or just for those of you who have not checked it out in the past, I'm going to give you a abbreviated version of the traditional version, the what you would call more child-friendly version, the one that is more commonly known. And whenever you go to Dragon Boat Festival, this is the story. This is the version they're going to tell you. So basically, a long, long time ago in ancient China, there was a politician by the name of Qu Yuan. Okay, some people call him Q1 or QN or Qian, but those are just white people don't know how to pronounce that stuff. Okay, it's pronounced Qu Yuan. Okay, on paper it's spelled different. On paper it looks like Q I WING or some nonsense like that. But the proper pronunciation is Qu Yuan, like CHOU YUAN. That's like how you would pronounce that, Qu Yuan. So Qu Yuan was a very loyal, patriotic, wise minister of the king of the time. And the king didn't like him, right? Because the king was always annoyed with Qu Yuan because whenever the king wanted to take a day off and go have some fun with his 3,000 wives, or just take a day off and sleep, or take a day off and go hunting, Qu Yuan's always there. Your Majesty, you should think about the civilian. You should think about your subject. They're waiting for you to sign this paper. They're waiting for you to make this new royal decree. And did you forget that this other province is having a drought problem? How can you be enjoying yourself and they're having a problem? Like Qu Yuan's always there. He's kind of a pest, a bit of a pain in the ass. Uh, and when the king was wanting to go to war with someone, Qu Yuan is there. Your Majesty, this is bad. Going to war is bad because you are going to get a lot of civilians killed and people are going to get hurt, and we can't afford this. And then another time when the king is wanting to have a peace talk with their rival. And Qi Yuan said, "Your Majesty, this is not a time for peace talk. They push us around for so long. Maybe we should show them some backbone. You know, you can't always have peace talk. You need to know when to hold your ground." So it's like whatever the king was doing, Qi Yuan always had something to correct him on or some other idea. Um, Now, the civilian, the commoners, they loved Qian because Qian was always there trying to fight for commoners' rights and their treatment and stuff like that. But yeah, the king totally hated him. So, to get him out of his hair, the king exiled him to the border town, basically get him as far away from the palace as possible so he wouldn't be a pest every day. And because of that, Qu Yuan started writing poetry. That he started drinking. He became an alcoholic, and he started writing poetry. He's one of the greatest poets in Chinese history. Wrote a lot of patriotic poem, a lot of sad poems about how the country is falling apart because the leadership sucked. I mean, he said it in a much more flowery way, but basically that's what he said. So one day when Qu Yuan got drunk, he threw himself in the river, and well, some people say he fell in by accident because he was drunk, but some people said he was so disenchanted with the treatment he was getting from the king, so he decided to commit suicide. Either way, he fell in the river and drowned. And because the commoners loved him so much, and they did not want the fish and the other uh, critters in the river to be eating his body, they went out on the water with this boat that's painted like dragons to scare away the fish and the other critters. Um, and to further ensure that the fish and other stuff wouldn't be feeding on Qian's body, they make rice dumpling and throw them in the river to feed the fish and shrimp and crab and other stuff, so they wouldn't be eating his body. So that was the most official version of the origin of Dragon Boat. The Dragon Boat were the boat that they used to scare away these critters, and the rice dumpling, the zongzi, were the food they tried to use to appease the fish and other aquatic animals. However, when you really think about it, uh, it doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Like, okay, if you just want to feed the fish, and so they would not feed on his body, why don't you just throw the rice and the other stuff in the river? Why do you wrap it in leaves and twine? Like, what, the fish is supposed to grow arms and have hands and they can unwrap these things and eat them? That doesn't make sense, right? Like, why don't you just throw the ingredients in there? Uh, you know, and the okay, let's say you go out there and you have boats that are painted like dragon, then shouldn't you just leave those boats in the river? Like why would you only do that on that one day? Then what about the rest of the year? The fish going to come back and eat his body when the boats are gone. So when you really shine a light of logic upon the story, it doesn't stand up to close examination. And it's not supposed to. A lot of these traditional tales are just there for story's sake. You know, you're not supposed to take it too seriously. It's kind of like when you take fairy tales and stuff like that too seriously and things suddenly just fall apart. But today I'm going to give you a different, an alternative version of events that actually sound more logical and sound like what actually happened. And not too many people, other than historians and scholars or people who do deep dives into Chinese history, would come across this version of events. So today I'm going to give you guys the ultimate gossip. What actually happened to Qu Yuan that day? In this alternate event, it starts more or less the same way. So long time ago in ancient China, there's this politician and minister, highly uh, valued, very wise man called Qu Yuan. This part's the same. He served under the king of the Chu kingdom. Wait, that part is the same as well. If you're confused, like where does the Chu kingdom come into play? At the time when Qu Yuan was alive, China, not the China we know today, at that time China was a area separates, split up into like 18 different nations, 18 different kingdoms. So it's not one united country at that time. So Qian worked for the king of Chu. And Qian, just like the other version, is very wise and is always up the king's ass and telling the king how to rule the country. And the king eventually got pissed off and had enough of him and told him to please go away. And the king exiled him to the border of the kingdom so he would be out of his hair. Okay, so up to this part is the same, but this is when the tale take a darker turn. When Qian was exiled, he was still serving the kingdom by submitting uh, his advice, and he would write letters and suggestions and send them to the king. And this part was okay. The king really enjoyed that because, well, he has some really good ideas. But at least he's not here bitching at me every day. But then rumors started uh, being passed around that Qu Yuan actually had an affair with the queen before he got exiled, and that the current prince is not the son of the king. The prince actually came from Qu Yuan's seed, and the king couldn't stand it. He confronted the queen, and yes, he found out that yes, the queen and Qu Yuan did really love each other, um, but the queen refused to confess that if the royal prince was Qu Yuan's son. Of course not. If she said that this is not your son, the king would probably have both her and the prince executed. So, she would defend that to the death. She would assert that the son belonged to the king. That's just basic survival. So anyway, the king didn't know who to believe, but he knew one thing for sure. He knew that Qu Yuan had to be killed because Qu Yuan cheated with the queen and basically made a fool out of the king. And as long as Qu Yuan's still alive, the birthright of the prince will always be contested. Like what if when the prince grow up and become the king and Qu Yuan come back and say I'm the king's father, like this will throw the whole kingdom into chaos. So Qu Yuan had to go. So the king sent his imperial soldiers to go hunt Qu Yuan down. But when the imperial soldiers chased Qu Yuan to the bank of the river, Qu Yuan quickly jumped into a canoe and started paddling like crazy across the river, trying to get to the other side of the river. The imperial soldiers jumped into some other canoes and chased him across the river. This is the origin of Dragon Boat, why they do Dragon Boat races, the boats chasing each other, is the simulation of this life and death struggle that took place when the Imperial soldiers were chasing Qu Yuan. The dragon on the boat symbolized the king's power, because as we all know, traditionally Chinese emperors and kings, their symbol has always been the dragon. So the dragon boat is not there to scare fish away. The dragon boat is to simulate the imperial guards chasing Qu Yuan across the river. Now, Qu Yuan is just one man, and he's like a minister, he's a politician, a poet. Obviously, he wasn't going to win this race. The soldiers, being big and burly and very well trained, very fit, quickly caught up to him in his canoe, and they grabbed him. And to do what they were sent there to do, they put him in a big burlap sack, loaded the sack down with rock, tie it up with twine, and sent him down to swim with the fishes. Yeah, the imperial soldiers did what the mafia do to people, to poor Qu Yuan. And it is said that the true origin of zongzi, the rice dumpling, is to simulate what they did to Qu Yuan. When you think about, like, you make that sticky rice dumpling and then you wrap it up nice and tight in leaves, and then you tie the whole thing up with twine so nothing can get out. It does look like what they did to Qu Yuan by when they tie him into a burlap sack and throw him in the river. So this is a darker but more logical origin of Dragon Boating. I hope this doesn't ruin Dragon Ball Festival for anybody, and it shouldn't. Like I said, this is the alternative version. I'm not saying that this is absolutely the true origin. Okay, this is just something for you guys to think about. If you have ever wondered, well, the common version doesn't really make sense. Well, then maybe this one makes more sense to you guys. Okay, I'm happy to be here and sharing this little story today. I am going to go prepare for my night of art show, shaking hands, hugging babies, and all that stuff. I'll see you guys tomorrow at Toy Thursday. For now, 谢谢 and 再见。